Welcome to the very first episode of Thrive Now, another podcast. Really, that was my thinking when when somebody approached me and asked me to start my show a couple of months ago. Did you know that there's over 2 million podcasts around the world? And I thought to myself, why another show? And the reason why is because no one is talking about this conversation. No one is talking about what is it going to take for humanity to thrive now. As I come on the air, it's actually my birthday. It's October 27th, 2022. I just turned 51. And looking back on my life, I've had moments where I've actually thrived, was in a thriving state and what I would call like this bliss-tabulous place in my life, where I was experiencing life like it was like a magic carpet ride with all these miracles unfolding, amazing opportunities, amazing people to connect with. And then I've had moments in my life where it's been the opposite of that, where I've been in barely survival mode. And I've been in different stages of surviving. I've been in the barely surviving state. I've been in the what I would call the middle of the road surviving state. I've been in the surviving better state. So I feel like I've been on all ends of the spectrum. But I have yet to master thriving now in all areas of my life and on a consistent basis. So this is my own personal inquiry, and it's the inquiry that I have for humanity. What's it really going to take to thrive now? As I, come live in this first episode, I am aware that the number of veterans that are struggling with post-traumatic stress and committing suicide every day, that the statistics have been revised. It used to be on average 22, and now the latest statistics are saying it's more like an average of 44. Divorce rate is on a high. People are losing jobs, people are losing their homes. There are, earthquakes, tsunamis, fires, hurricanes. The storms are getting more intense all around the globe. I have friends that live in South Africa who experience daily losses of power. I mean, we live in a world where we have so much technology, we have so much abundance, and yet we are struggling to tap into that collectively. We are struggling to, we have people that are hungry. We have a hunger crisis, and yet I've heard that we actually have enough food to feed everyone on the planet. The issue is distribution. The issue is getting it to the people and getting it to the people who need it. Our oceans are being polluted. We have waste. We have, our sea life. Our sea life is actually, impacted because of all of the waste. We have plastics, and we have pollution. We have all of these challenges. And I'm sitting here today going, what's it going to take? What's it really going to take for us to come together, collaborate so that we can make the world a better place? We can make the world a better place for ourselves, our children, the next generation, our parents. And, a world where we're not fighting with each other. We're not arguing over a political party or arguing over, whether or not we should go to war. What if we just stopped all that? What would the world be like? Now, it's interesting because it's been about 2.5 years since COVID became a thing, and we went through a global pandemic. And at the start of COVID, I was actually in that thriving, blissful state. Life was really, really good for me. And I stayed in that state for quite a period of time. And then I fell back. And I fell back because I felt guilty. I felt guilty because a lot of people in my life, both family, friends, colleagues, my community, were really struggling. There was a lot of fear present with COVID. And miraculously, I wasn't afraid of COVID. Now, you have to understand, most of my life, I've lived in fear. Most of my life, I have, battled with anxiety, battled with panic disorder, battled with depression. I lived through a terrorist attack, so I know what fear is. And yet this time, I literally was not afraid. I somehow, in all the work that I did to heal myself from the bombings that, I was standing a mere 15 feet from back in 2013 at the Boston Marathon. And I found myself in this place of really peacefulness. And I remember when we were in lockdown, what I started to experience was the birds. I started to notice the birds were singing more. I noticed more of them. It was as if they were singing hallelujah. The world has slowed down. As I, speak to all of you today, I've been in this space of this fast pace, got to get somewhere, and someday I'll, reach that destination. But I've come to understand there is no destination to really reach. It's actually just about being present in this now moment and enjoying what we have in this now moment and expressing love to those in our life, even complete strangers. Greeting someone with a smile is an act of kindness and an act of love. Doesn't matter what they look like, doesn't matter where they come from, it doesn't matter their role in society. I think this is it. I think it's time for us to transcend the labels that keep us separate, that divide us, and that keep us in that mentality of, right and wrong. What if there is no right and wrong and it just is? What if we stop judging each other and ourselves for that matter? And so I decided to create this show so that I could speak my truth of what I feel it's going to take to thrive now for myself and for those listening. I want to invite other people around the globe who have a similar mission and who have a similar passion. I recently met the founder and the leader of Project Heaven on Earth, and I'm super excited because he's going to be a guest on the show. I also recently met, an amazing woman who started the True Power Institute, Runa Boyes. And Runa speaks about power in a very different way, not power in the form of aggression or, one is better than the other. It's about standing in our true essence and our true power. And when we come from our authentic way of being, something magical happens in our lives. And if we can start to shift how we show up in the world, both as individuals, as communities, as corporations, then we will transcend what I perceive out of survival mode, survival mentality, survival matrix, and jump into a new spiral of thriving. And what would the world be like if we were all thriving? It's almost hard to imagine, actually. Because when I drive down the street to go to the store, I see homeless people. When I go, into the grocery store, I see people that are living on food stamps because they don't have enough to make ends meet. What if we all got to a place where we were abundant? Because I do believe abundance and thriving is our birthright, and we've just lost ourselves along the way. And, thriving means something to, it's something different for every person, and that's totally fine. But what's it going to take for us to transcend struggle? What's it going to take for us to transcend just surviving? I've come to understand that the more that I slow down, the more that I am open to receive what life has to offer me. But if I'm going at a very fast pace, I don't see that. I don't observe that. I don't, and it's like I'm literally rushing by the very thing that the universe wants to send to me. So slowing down, being present to what's around me has been a challenge. And I'm not going to lie, it still is a challenge. I have a lot of energy most of the time. So, and as a result, I just am a go, go, go type of person. But at the same token, I eventually get to a place where I burn out. And I think this is it. It's like learning how to find that balance, that middle ground. And so I invite all of you to come join us each week. We'll have featured guests talking about thriving now. I too will speak on occasion, what I've discovered in my own life and what's working. And so that more of us can rise up and more of us can step into thriving now. So welcome. This, I promise, will be a magical ride. That is the intent, is that we get to a place where we can answer the question, what's it going to take to thrive now? And we can live it. And that is my hope for myself and for all the listeners and for humanity. So welcome, stay tuned. I guarantee we're going to have some laughs. I guarantee we're going to have some cries, but most of all, we're going to come together, because I believe that together we rise, together we thrive. Sending love to all of you. Make it a fabulous day.